What are we Kasana? Why they put it out this week?
Amosi official. Amosi official.
Now, why would she train in Libya? Also, we receive a lot of compliments. But the day is here. For folk castle radio. It's time for gospel. Who are Reshemupa? Say a BGM artist of the year. So your body now a come out.
In fact, me wa ha say ye be hwede awurade e be ye e de amaye wo eneda yi. Yes. Said ye be kwa ama no de PS mintumi enka mintumi enchire. But what I know is say I am here. Said ye nyame ya adoma. Se awurade bie kwan na ye nsa ka bia. Ye be da awurade as ye nsa nka bia. Ebeneza baby wa boy dey abeduko no. We really do appreciate it.
Why me here a very head song. One can say na nyom na ekono. Who does to who say why me be kese say ya abeti ma nomination bebre. Ah fi say krampo ya san so do waka BGM artist of the year.
In fact, na minim say because of the message linting definitely no Ewurade ya duma nyum ne be bibi. But men so say e be kese said the aye.
Na ye kan ye ke afi dia ye afeso nkokwa de bia ye hu se gospel for omu nominate o ma ye nya gospel musicians e support you ba wo de edutwem wa wo colleagues gospel fraternity industry players ni nyina no de ntia na wo beka se obi abetu abekare wechi sa
me de urade ase de meka ne se urade din na animonyam enka se wama ne ho wama ne nsa so ama ye hunu dia yehuni me deminuano nyina as e wo supporter omode ama me na e kire se Ewurade ye bibi e wo gospel
nti afia da ye nim ye nhwe nim se pese esta e be drop nyoma bebre because why me ye ne de ato akofa akoma so pa esa yare nwa omoni da so asa nyina e momoni da so nti looking forward there be and the months to come no ye benya foforo bia na. In
fact so that me no ka say kura no na me aduma exna nko yes ochina 70 ya e na ye release eye waye me ye all stars edition I can say wo YouTuber obi abetimi akohwe e wo hu akanya awurade asa faso asa ya pagya waye me ye e wo me ni nuanom anyotofo a nyame ya aduma wo de ye yes aduma no. You will love it. Mama,
you will get better because you take a crave. You who's no mujeja or him Mercy was so, Sisi Chum was so, Joyce Blessing was so, emoji was so,
Obapa Christy was so.
Yeah, no, because I then I know
was so. I mean, and I'm telling my child was say, a radia dumuntinya me ye baby, I wore a young gospel. Na me gidi ye say, I bet what was.
Man, na 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 beja wakodia when na da wakuma so pan say nomination. Onya ya wo beka dia na da wakuma so pan.
Dia urade de be mama bia meso.
Nyami sha mama. Wo so aye fe pan rest ni dia. Ah me kan na da. What ye ni.
That man claims to come and represent democracy. No, that one is not democracy, it's democracy. It's a demonstration of craze. I'm a Muslim man myself. You cannot say that, oh, there are people there recruiting homosexual kids. How can you recruit a homosexual? Recruiting a homosexual. And in Islam, it is haram, it is a sin for you to blame somebody and suspect somebody without valid proof. How can you say that Save Ghana is recruiting kids and making them homosexual? They are helping the community. They are starting something that you have not started, something that's for the country. You cannot come and take me out of my land because you have the public, or because you have brought boys from Nima. That's not going to change it. It's my property, it's my property. At the end of the day.
Today, the yield has gone down, totally down, to an extent that the whole acre, you cannot get 300 tons of cassava out of it.
Where 2 years ago, that Ministry of Food and Agriculture gave us some seedlings. And with that too, they will wait. They wouldn't bring the seedlings early.
Food security does not necessarily mean the availability of food. Is it affordable? Is it available? Is it accessible for the person? So as we speak, people are fully secure within the municipality. But some of them, they cannot afford the food even though it's the price expensive and they don't have access to it.
The activity things that we do that cause contamination. For instance, deforestation. Most of the time during the chiefly cultivation, you farm here small, you want to go to a different place, you will go and destroy the forest.
Everyone needs the perfect snack to munch on during a fun moment. Wow. Enjoy the tasty McBerry Twist cupcakes, deliciously baked and packaged for a sweet treat. Premium quality cakes baked with love for all, enriched in butter and milk.
Yummy.
Oh, McBerry Twist cupcakes, simply irresistible. Try one today. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome to the Ghana ICT Hub, a partnership between MTN Ghana and the Government of Ghana through the Ministry of Communications and Digitization. MTN pledged to support Ghana's digitization agenda in line with its ambition to lead the delivery of digital solutions for Africa's progress. In fulfillment of this pledge, MTN Ghana has committed $25 million toward the realization of the Ghana ICT Hub project. The objectives of the Ghana ICT Hub project is anchored on the following: to create an ICT-enabled environment for human capital and ICT skills development, to develop an ICT ecosystem through remote access delivery to facilitate job creation for national development, to provide a modern, state-of-the-art physical infrastructure to serve as a pillar for the digital Ghana agenda. The physical infrastructure, when completed, will provide 4,000 square meters of space with the following facilities: laboratories for technology training and research, innovation hub, co-working spaces for tech innovation startups, Tier 3 data center, conferencing facilities, offices and meeting rooms, commercial lettable spaces, gaming area, restaurant, ancillary facilities. The technology laboratories will be fitted with the next generation ICT equipment and applications to provide the youth of Ghana with practical training in Industry 4.0 technologies such as artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, cloud computing, 3D printing, robotics, Internet of Things, IoT, advanced manufacturing techniques, cybersecurity, genetic engineering. The project also seeks to establish a complete ecosystem at the hub through remote access delivery to facilitate job creation for national development. The ecosystem shall comprise of MDAs, technology companies, startups, incubators, research agencies, leading universities globally, foundations worldwide, to create a community. 1. The ecosystem community shall bridge the divide between academia and industry and provide solutions to challenges in the key sectors of health, agriculture, and educational sectors of the economy. 2. It shall also run an innovation program providing mentoring and networking for the youth in tech startups. 3. The ecosystem community shall establish an innovation fund to support startups, research agencies, and other entities in the ecosystem. MTN Ghana and the Ministry of Communications and Digitization are championing the Ghana digital agenda for Ghana's development. Welcome to the digital age.
I want you so bad, Alpha Cracker. I want you. I wanna say yes, I can't resist. I want you. Ooh, I want you, Alpha Cracker. I want you so bad, Alpha Cracker. Don't me call one casa.
Alpha goodness rich in milk and butter in Alpha Cracker. Yummy and deliciously crunchy.
But I can't resist you.
Alpha Crackers, simply irresistible.
This advert is FDA approved.
Now, back canocre. Susu sang pine, be a one ton and be a man in quite baby.
Mommy, you fish can see
Send me sika from Lemonade Finance. While Brian did the shit and let me £10.
Lemonade Finance.
Say they're sending money back home from UK, Canada, and now US. I accept it. Instant charges. Exchange waiting in so unbeatable. We should be promo code Dr. Likey. Nanya £10, $10, and $10 Canadian dollars for the first transaction. What is send this guy coffee? Download to Lemonade Finance.
The interpreter, you see, he doesn't understand the particular course we are doing. As the lecturer is saying, maybe not only him, but
everyone needs the perfect snack to munch on during a fun moment. Wow. Enjoy the tasty McBerry Twist cupcakes, deliciously baked and packaged for a sweet treat. Premium quality cakes baked with love for all, enriched in butter and milk.
Yummy.
McBerry Twist cupcakes, simply irresistible. Try one today. This advert is FDA approved.
the interpreter, you see, he doesn't understand the particular course we are doing. As the lecturer is saying, maybe not only him, but generally people who understand it. So how he convey the information to me was very hard for me to understand.
Disability, they say, is not inability. Lydia Abeye Akwa is a proof of this adage. As a deaf person, she has been able to graduate from the University of Mines and Technology with a Master of Business Technology Management. I am off to her residence to find out how she was able to do this amidst all the challenges. Come with me.
Breaking barriers is no small feat, and Lydia Abeye Akwa, a hearing impaired student, has done just that. Lydia defied the odds and graduated with a master's degree from the University of Mines and Technology, UMAT, in Takwa, in the western region of Ghana. Her accomplishment is not only a testament to her hard work and determination, but also an inspiration to others facing similar challenges. Lydia was born hearing, but became hearing impaired after the age of 10. So, she practically knew how to speak before she lost her ability to hear. Due to this, she is able to speak properly, but she just cannot hear.
So when I became deaf, from 10 years, you see, when I go to the classroom, I will pretend as if I can hear, but I can't hear. And my teachers, they will send me to go and buy something. I will not hear. I think I should keep the money. So I'll go and spend the money. Then I will come back to the class. Then the teacher is saying, after a long time, the teacher in the middle of the teaching was leader. Where is my granite? Then I will go out. I'll go and talk to somebody and find money and then bring it back. I will say that when I went, the granite was finished. But I left the money somewhere else for voting, so I'm bringing it back. It happened to me many times. I always made up a story. So after some time, some of the teachers began to notice, I think you have a problem with your hearing. But I passed through.
But with all the challenges that come with deafness, she never relented on pursuing her dreams in life. She worked hard and overcame every obstacle in her path from primary, secondary, and tertiary levels, and finally graduating with a cumulative weighted average of 76.80% from the Master of Business Technology Management program at the Faculty of Integrated Management Science during the just ended 14th congregation of the University of Mines and Technology in Tarkwa, where she focused on management information systems. According to Lydia, after becoming hearing impaired, people began stigmatizing her in her community, and she could no longer sell for her mother as she used to do. And even as a church singer, she could no longer sing.
As a singer, I had a nice voice. But when I became deaf, my voice turned into different sounds. So I started singing. It was like a shame to me around 10 years and up. So people look down on you. People know they don't welcome you as if you have done something bad by becoming deaf. That's the feeling you get around people. You don't feel welcome because you see some general something around people. I cannot explain, but everywhere you go, you see that thing around them. They don't welcome you. So you begin to pull away from people. Then the friends you had, children friends, you lost them. Because they think when they talk, you don't understand them. So they don't waste time on you.
But the stigma did not deter her from continuing with her education. She says, irrespective of her deafness, she was one of the best students at the JHS level because she was a very brilliant student in class.
Thankfully, God gave me a good brain, so I could learn and then pass my exams from the primary school to the junior high. I tried. I think I was one of the best students in my school in those days.
Gaining admission to the Tarkwa Senior High School to pursue business was another hurdle for Lydia as she learned on her own. One of her challenges was taking down notes anytime the teachers decided to dictate. Since she couldn't hear anything, she had to resort to lip reading to get an idea of what the teachers were saying, but that wasn't much help either. A classmate by name Patient Sako came to her aid by deciding to write the notes for her anytime teachers decided to dictate.
When I went to SS, I wanted to study science. But when you go there, you have to write exams depending on the subject that you pass before they will tell you whether you do science or. And I did well in English, the maths. I didn't do well in the science. So one of the teachers said, because I'm deaf, I should go and do business. Because business, accounting, and all that, you would just be sitting on the computer and then not much interaction with people. So I was learning on my own. And there was one mate, she's called Patience Sabu. She was a sweet, good person. I think God just put him there for me. And then when we go to the classroom and the teacher is dictating the notes, she will be writing her own notes. At the same time, she will be writing my own. That is how I did it to the very end. And I will be sitting in front every time to read the teacher's lips. If the teacher turns, then I'm lost. But I did well by reading on my own, and many of my students were very proud of me at SS level. I was learning with the high intelligent people. When we finished SS, I was among the best at that time.
After completing Tarkwa Senior High School, she enrolled at the Ekuapem Mampon Secondary Technical School for the Deaf, where she learned the sign language before entering the University of Ghana to study business administration, human resource option. as the only hearing impaired student in the lecture hall with an interpreter in front of the whole class, she felt uncomfortable because all eyes were on her. Due to this, she stopped going for lectures altogether, and her interpreter also decided to stop. This, she said, affected her performance badly as she began to fail.
Personally, I was having a feeling of like being an old deaf in the whole lecture place. I was about to make up, great people, and then you sit in front with a sign language interpreter. I was feeling uncomfortable at all. Everybody watching me. But that was an immature feeling. I was not very knowledgeable around that time. What I would say to other deaf people, if they experience the same thing, they should never feel shy. Because for me, it's a glorious thing not to hear among so many people the experience within. Only you know what is inside. You see it. And to be able to understand letters with a sign language interpreting is a marvelous thing. Any deaf should feel proud of. So, with this challenge for me, I was not going to the lecture because I didn't want people looking at me, and that was also not encouraging for my interpreters. So they stopped coming to help me.
At a point in time, the university almost revoked her admission, but thanks to the intervention of one lecturer, Dr. Kwabna Edupoku, Lydia was able to continue with her education.
Later, I had to meet our school. One of the lecturers, he had experience with deaf people, so I went to meet him. And then I told him my challenges. He encouraged me. And then he met the university authorities. So they decided to allow me to continue. You see it. But because of me, they made that man the disability coordinator of the university. I think for the first time, the university had a disability coordinator through that man, Dr. Kwabena Edupoku. And then after from that time on, I began to do well. Actually, I was fired. Something wonderful happened to me. My performance improved. So I managed to graduate successfully.
13 years after completing her first degree, Lydia decided to enroll for a master's degree at the University of Mines and Technology. Because of initial challenges she went through due to her form of disability, Lydia worked closely with the university management, some lecturers and course mates to be able to appreciate some complex course concepts, and because of that, she was able to persevere. The university ensured also that she had the necessary assistants, such as sign language interpreters, to enable her fully participate in lectures and other academic activities. Finally, the day of graduation arrived, and Lydia walked across the stage to receive her master's degree, and she felt a sense of pride and accomplishment that she had never before felt. She looked out into the crowd and saw her family and friends cheering her on, and she knew in that moment that all of her hard work had been worth it. She describes UMAT as an exceptional institution that fosters practical learning and says that its faculty, staff, and students are very supportive.
Initially, the university was not having the resources, so they couldn't provide me fast. It almost affected my admissions. But I had to help them to know that I can do it, whether they give me interpreting service or not. So they were very happy by that. So they decided to welcome me to continue my goal. And so we started. So along the line, the university came in to support because they will see that it was very important. And there are a lot of challenges in the masters. And sometimes the interpreter, you see, he doesn't understand the particular course we are doing. As the lecturer is saying, maybe not only him, but generally people who understand it. So how he convey the information to me was very hard for me to understand. There's some to interpreting. But when I don't understand, my mates, course mates, they spend time with me to explain it so that I was able to follow. And then my thesis, the same thing.
The head of Department for Management Studies at UMAT, Dr. Kofi Kamasa, tells our reporter that the school admitted Lydia without knowing she was hearing impaired.
When we received her admission document, I think that we didn't know that she was deaf. Okay, yeah. So we gave the admission, and after the admission was given, she reported. That is when we got to know that she was a special student, and so engagement with the dean of postgraduate school at the time, and then some members of the university. I mean, we realized that no, we cannot withdraw the admission.
Upon finding out about her condition after her admission, the necessary assistance was provided for Lydia to go through the program successfully.
If you are hearing impaired and you are taking certain courses which are quantitative in nature, even though you may have an interpreter to be interpreting the things to you, when we are talking of formulas here and quantitative issues, there are little bit challenge that comes there because it's difficult to interpret like quadratic equation for you to, you get the point. Yeah, so I think that those were some of the challenges that she was facing initially, but with time, I think she became comfortable and she was able to actually pursue through. And then also knowing that that was what was facing her, I think the lecturers were also made aware, and so their mode of teaching was also a bit flexible, so that it could also cater for her as well. That's how we were to do, so that she managed to do the course just as the other friends who were here. Yes.
According to Dr. Kofi Kamasa, the university is always prepared to help persons living with disability anytime they gain admission. He said everyone has the right to education, adding that Lydia defied all the odds and went on to pursue her dream irrespective of her disability. He urged PWDs not to allow their disability hinder them from climbing the academic ladder.
When it comes to education, we know that in Ghana we have inclusive education. Nobody should be left out. And like we said, if someone is impaired, it doesn't mean that the person is incapable of doing anything. There are a lot of examples where people with disability have risen to the very, very top as far as the academic ladder is concerned. So as a university where we embrace these things, if where we are also disability friendly, if we get situations like that, we are always prepared to help and make sure that nobody loses their right and dream to education because of their inability or their disability status. So we are fully prepared. We are fully prepared to embrace those things. Of course, Lydia's case has given us more eye-opening situations where it has even made the university more friendly as far as these special students are concerned.
Lydia's sign language interpreter, Richmond Bedu, tells me why he accepted to be her interpreter.
When I had a call from Lydia that she wanted me to be her personal interpreter, I really wanted to accept such a challenge. Because to be frank with you, that was the first time of venturing into such I was finding myself in such a situation. I have not actually been at the tertiary level to interpret. So I actually accepted the mantle, one, because of the passion I have for the deaf people. I'm someone who always advocates concerning issues of deafness, because I really want to see them always at the top, to see them achieving or aspiring for greater heights. So I went in just to make sure that her vision of acquiring something better in terms of her career has been achieved.
According to him, the challenge taught him a lot of things. He said he made a lot of sacrifices just to make sure that Lydia graduated successfully. He mentioned some of the challenges he faced along the line.
At the start, when we began, I was at the same time a student at the University of Mines and Technology, the same school that Lydia attended. I was, I think, level 200 during that period. But I just considered the fact that she was going to have it at the weekends. That is Saturdays and Sundays. So though sometimes we had group meetings and some other meetings on weekends, but I decided to sacrifice in that regard to make sure that she's able to have the best of it. And another thing also that I encountered whilst I was with Lydia was that, it's a higher level of education. And then there are certain terminologies or certain things that are being taught. I have no knowledge or idea about. So what happened was that I was mostly dependent on the lecturer. Whatever that the lecturer says, that is what I deliver. But the pace at which the lecturer will go with the hearing students, I have to really grasp the concepts. So I even have to pause the lecture at a point in time to explain it further for me to get a clearer picture of it before I'll be able to convey the meaning to Lydia.
While commending UMAT for accepting Lydia, Mr. Baidu called on the Ministry of Education and other educational institutions to incorporate sign language into their curriculum and also make sign language interpretation available to make it easy for the hearing impaired to access education.
I would like to commend the University of Mines and Technology for such an amazing opportunity given to Lydia to explore. Actually, though Lydia has been able to pursue her career, it has also helped me as a sign language interpreter to better my profession. We are pleading with all institutions to actually incorporate the learning of sign language as well as even having interpreters available to be of help whenever such a deaf wants to visit their outfit. I think this is going to create a bigger platform for the deaf people to reach higher heights. And then again, my final proposal is to the government that I think, and in my candid opinion, I think once we start the learning of sign language right from the basic schools, it's really going to be of help in the sense that the children are going to grow with it. And once they grow with it, already we've created an inclusive education. And that is going to make things simpler for the deaf people. And we are going to produce more sign language interpreters for Ghana.
Lydia expressed her appreciation to Richmond Baidu for availing himself to be her interpreter.
So this interpreter, the fight for me actually is advocating, making sure that I advance. If many interpreters have that attitude of fighting for deaf, helping create awareness of deaf issues, I think a lot of deaf people will have big opportunities. And I appreciate the attitude of Mr. Richmond. Advocacy with power.
Love found Lydia while she was at the University of Ghana. Her husband, Samuel Asamoah, recalls how he met and got attracted to her.
So I met her at the University of Ghana. I think we were in Princeton, but I met her just once. When I met her, I just saw something strange and attractive. And then later I got to go closer and I got to realize that this is a lady I would like to marry. She's a very bold person and that really attracted me to her. So I would say love blinds, okay? yeah, because of the love, I didn't really see that she has a problem. Yeah, so that is how I live with her. I live with her with that mindset. So we live together peacefully.
Mr. Samoa has learned sign language through Lydia, and that is the means through which they communicate. And he is always ready to support his wife in diverse ways, even up to the point of her achieving her PhD.
I would like to see her going as far as PhD. Yeah, because she has a very sharp memory, and she's able to memorize a lot of things more than I do. So I encourage her to go higher in the academic ladder.
Ever wondered how Lydia, as a mother, would know when her child is crying when she's not close by to see the baby's gestures? Well, thanks to her husband, she doesn't have to worry anymore about that.
As a deaf wife, she won't be able to hear a baby is crying. But I play that role. So when the baby cries, I would prompt her that baby is crying, and then she can do the breastfeeding. As a father in a home, I also hear for her. Actually, I'm her hearing. Okay, I'm the one who feels that lack. I hear for her whenever she needs to hear around her. I make her to hear, so that she won't feel that even she has any disability.
According to Mr. Samoa, because of how the society sees the hearing impaired, they do not have a lot of information, and this has become a hindrance to their development. He is of the view that government should put in measures to make the hearing impaired have access to information.
Education can be defined as a change of behavior due to learning something. Okay, but generally speaking, deaf people do not have access to a lot of information because of how our society view them or treat them. Okay, when you visit our banks, we only have sign language interpreters. When you visit our schools, there are no sign language interpreters to help the deaf children in most of the schools. So in this regard, they won't get enough information to even have a change of behavior, as is the goal of proper education. So because of that, in some aspects of life, okay, the deaf may not respond appropriately, but that does not mean that they are not behaving well. But because the society have not structured things in a proper way that will help them to have a change of behavior through education from the society.
Lydia Abeye Akwa wants the government to make sign language a general subject for all school-going children, as she believes it will help everyone to know sign languages.
What I want to say is we should make sign language a general subject for all children in Ghana, because sign language is the way deaf people learn. That is their language. Sign language is like any other language, and how sign language convey information for us deaf people is more powerful than hearing. So if GS, the government makes sign language compulsory for all children in Ghana, everybody will be fine. Everybody will be fine, because at a point, even old people, they will become deaf. So by the time we arrive at being deaf, we are not praying for people to becoming deaf, but that is a possibility. So if you become deaf and you know sign language, your family people know sign language, you are okay.
With the aim of becoming a linguist, Lydia has gained admission to the Gallaudet University, a private federally chartered research university in Washington, D.C., for the education of the hearing impaired, and is pursuing a Master in Linguistics course that she hopes would help her to return to support language development of the hearing impaired in Ghana. She is therefore soliciting for the support of organizations and individuals to help her pursue that dream.
You see, even the whole world, we have very few deaf people who are linguists. Even women, deaf women who are deaf linguists. We don't have enough deaf linguists. So I see this for me to stand. I mean, get more education to learn about linguistics. So I can use this to come to Ghana here to support all deaf people and also to stand as women with disability who aspires for higher education and are achieving innovative things in the society. And so I've applied to the GhanaWeb University and I got admission already to go. But I need support scholarship. I apply for the fall 2023. So I need the scholarship to help me to go and study. The university currently do not have support for international people.
Lydia's success is a reminder of the importance of inclusivity in education. It is essential to create an environment where all students, regardless of their disabilities, feel supported and empowered to succeed. By breaking barriers and achieving her goals, Lydia has opened doors for other hearing impaired students and shown that anything is possible with hard work and determination.
Lydia's success has brought light into the lives of persons living with disability. No matter where you are, you can also climb to the top of the academic ladder, irrespective of your disability. From Takwa in the Western region, Thomas Tete reporting for GhanaWeb.
That man claims to come and represent democracy. No, that one is not democracy, it's democracy. It's a demonstration of craze. I'm a Muslim man myself. You cannot say that, oh, there are people there recruiting homosexual kids. How can you recruit a homosexual? Recruiting a homosexual. And in Islam, it is haram, it is a sin for you to blame somebody and suspect somebody without valid proof. How can you say that Save Ghana is recruiting kids and making them homosexual? They are helping the community. They are starting something that you have not started, something that's for the country. You cannot come and take me out of my land because you have the public, or because I brought boys from Nima. That's not going to change it. It's my property, it's my property. At the end of the day.
Today, the yield has gone down, totally down, to an extent that the whole acre, you cannot get 300 tons of cassava out of it.
Where 2 years ago, that Ministry of Food and Agriculture gave us some seedlings. And with that too, they will wait. They wouldn't bring the seedlings early.
Food security doesn't necessarily mean the availability of food. Is it affordable? Is it available? Is it accessible for the person? So as we speak, people are food insecure within the municipality. But some of them, they cannot afford the food, even though it's quite expensive and they don't have access to it.
The activity things that we do that cause contamination. For instance, deforestation. Most of the time during the chiefly cultivation, you farm here small, you want to go to a different place, you will go and destroy the forest.
I want you so bad, Alpha Cracker. I want you. I wanna say yes, I can't resist. I want you. Ooh, I want you, Alpha Cracker. I want you so bad, Alpha Cracker. I don't know one kasa.
Alpha goodness rich in milk and butter in Alpha Cracker. Yummy and deliciously crunchy.
But I can't resist you.
Alpha Crackers, simply irresistible.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome to the Ghana ICT Hub, a partnership between MTN Ghana and the Government of Ghana through the Ministry of Communications and Digitization. MTN pledged to support Ghana's digitization agenda in line with its ambition to lead the delivery of digital solutions for Africa's progress. In fulfillment of this pledge, MTN Ghana has committed $25 million toward the realization of the Ghana ICT Hub project. The objectives of the Ghana ICT Hub project is anchored on the following: to create an ICT-enabled environment for human capital and ICT skills development, to develop an ICT ecosystem through remote access delivery to facilitate job creation for national development, to provide a modern, state-of-the-art physical infrastructure to serve as a pillar for the digital Ghana agenda. The physical infrastructure, when completed, will provide 4,000 square meters of space with the following facilities: laboratories for technology training and research, innovation hub, co-working spaces for tech innovation startups, Tier 3 data center, conferencing facilities, offices and meeting rooms, commercial lettable spaces, gaming area, restaurant, ancillary facilities. The technology laboratories will be fitted with the next generation ICT equipment and applications to provide the youth of Ghana with practical training in Industry 4.0 technologies such as artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, cloud computing, 3D printing, robotics, Internet of Things, IoT, advanced manufacturing techniques, cybersecurity, genetic engineering. The project also seeks to establish a complete ecosystem at the hub through remote access delivery to facilitate job creation for national development. The ecosystem shall comprise of MDAs, technology companies, startups, incubators, research agencies, leading universities globally, foundations worldwide, to create a community. 1. The ecosystem community shall bridge the divide between academia and industry and provide solutions to challenges in the key sectors of health, agriculture, and educational sectors of the economy. 2. It shall also run an innovation program providing mentoring and networking for the youth in tech startups. 3. The ecosystem community shall establish an innovation fund to support startups, research agencies, and other entities in the ecosystem. MTN Ghana and the Ministry of Communications and Digitization are championing the Ghana digital agenda for Ghana's development. Welcome to the digital age.
Now,
Susu sang kwai bi a wan to nam bia e man kwai bebre.
Mommy, you fish can see about Kotoso. People got sending me sick from Lemonade Finance. While Brian did the shit and let me £2.
Lemonade Finance.
Say they're sending money back home from UK, Canada, and now US. I accepted a instant charges. Exchange waiting in so ye. Unbeatable. We should me promo code Dr. Like Nenya £10, $10 and $10 Canadian dollars for the first transaction. What is send this guy coffee? Download to Lemonade Finance.
The way I operate, the others don't want to operate that way. My policy is to just come there, get them out by force, the same way they came in. Because you fight fire with fire.
Welcome to this week's Say It Loud on GhanaWeb TV. There's been a lot of talk about a skating park here in Accra and a lot of controversies about who owns this land or not. Now we're here to speak to the actual owner of the land, Kwame. And Kwame is going to give us all the details about that land and whether or not there are any links to the LGBTQ plus community. Kwame, let's begin from what we know. We know that this land was or is being used for a skating park.
Correct.
Is that true?
That is correct.
Okay, so who owns that land?
This is an NGO run by Self Ghana, which is owned by Sandy Aribo, but I am the owner of the land.
You own the land?
And the house next to it, yes, correct.
Okay, all right. Now, your tenants are Serve Ghana.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, what is really the issue with the land? Is there any issue at all?
Now we don't have an issue with the land. The main issue is that we have a scammer, as they call them, or land grabbers, who falsify documents, look for loopholes in the policies, and try to claim a land. So that man who happened to come to my property has been there before. He has been there 2 years ago. He has been there when my mother was alive. And how come you're not taking it? He would always go away, but his new excuse right now is that I have the time. I've been on that property for 45 years.
45?
It was purchased in 1977.
Okay.
And you're coming to tell me right now that you have papers. This is out of the blues. It's complete insanity. But Mr. Kwashi was able to present himself. So
who is this Mr. Kwashi you mentioned?
He's unknown to me, to be honest. He's unknown. But he claims
is that the person claiming ownership to the land?
Ownership to the land. But to be honest, I think he has a backing, because that man doesn't have that kind of money to do all that landscaping and construction that he's saying and reclaiming of his property.
When you say backing, what kind of backing are you talking about?
To be honest, I have a feeling that he's been backed up by somebody.
Somebody.
I don't know who.
What?
I don't know.
In what kind of circles?
It's just financially.
Financially?
Yeah, because that property is located in a prime location. It's a hotspot, so definitely many people looking to grab it. So, of course, these are just speculations. I cannot say for a fact that it's not just him, but we've seen him in the past. That's not how he came.
Okay. So he comes back to the land to claim ownership?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now your tenants are Serve Ghana. They are the ones running the skating park.
Correct.
Now that's where the main issue is. There are two schools of thought. The first one, that this place is just a skating park, and then the second one is that it has links to the LGBTQ plus community.
Okay. So first of all, let me just make things clear, okay? I am not here on behalf of Serve Ghana.
Okay.
I'm on behalf of myself and on behalf of Ghana, first of all. We all abide by Ghanaian policies right now, okay? And Mr. Akufo-Addo, he's a very wise man, very well-spoken man. Whatever he has to say, when he comes on the television, he's a very well-spoken man. The message is passed on clearly, regardless of the content of that message. But Mr. Saki Saliki, or whatever his name is,
Sakasalia,
that man claims to come and represent democracy. No, that one is not democracy, it's democracy. It's a demonstration of craze. I'm a Muslim man myself. You cannot say that, there are people there recruiting homosexual kids. How can you recruit a homosexual? Recruiting a homosexual. And in Islam, it is haram. It is a sin for you to blame somebody and suspect somebody without valid proof. How can you say that Serve Ghana is recruiting kids and making them homosexual? They are helping the community. They are starting something that you have not started. Something that's for the country. And all of a sudden, because media is surrounding that property, he wants to get involved, and because he's a politician. And I'm surprised how he's a politician for the NPP, to be honest.
Okay, let's just stay on track. Let's not move to issues about Saka, because he's not here to actually respond to all of those
But his
things.
statements were shared. He came to my land to share it, obviously.
Okay, all right. Now let's go back to the land. There is a wall that's been built on the land.
Correct.
Are you the one building the wall?
That wall, I broke it down myself before I even used it.
So there was a wall there?
There's a wall there, I broke it down, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but we see that there's a new wall.
There's a new wall, yeah.
And who is actually building that
because
wall?
Mr. Sam Kwashi.
The person you claim is trying to take up your land.
He's a man who just popped out of nowhere, because I am not present in the country, and the property is leased by non-Ghanaians, so he saw maybe an opportunity. It's a good time for me to come in and attack. And there was no security that was able to prevent his access. And he came with police officers. I don't know how the police officers will allow somebody to come in the property and just build things, but we're in Ghana. We're in Ghana. So
I see.
Things can happen.
You say you have not been in the country. When did you return?
I returned in Ghana 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's your property, much as it's been leased to...
Correct. I inherited the property.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been leased now.
Correct.
Is there anything you are doing in particular to ensure that the other person who is trying to take up this land with a tenant there, you are protecting the interest of your tenants?
Oh yes, I'm doing everything that I can in my power. I attempted to go to the property yesterday to inspect it. I went there a few days ago as well. I confronted the workers over there, but you know, everybody has his own craze. The way I operate, the others don't want to operate that way. My policy is to just come there, get them out by force, the same way they came in. Because you fight fire with fire. He came with fire, you come back with fire. You don't have to go and call a lawyer or call a police officer to come and help you get it out. That's my land. That's my land. I have to do it in my way. That was the mistake.
How big is the land?
The whole property is about 0.50 acres.
50 acres?
Yes.
Is that what's being used as a skating board?
The skate park is approximately 0.3, I think.
Okay, so it's just a portion of
it's
the land?
Just a portion, yes.
Okay.
Just a portion, yes.
That's a huge land.
Just a portion, yes. That's a huge land, yeah.
Can you give me an estimate of what that land could cost today?
How much would it cost? Actually,
this is at Shiashi.
If I would tell you the price, maybe I'll invite more Kwashe boys to come to the property.
Okay.
Since that's
right, but it's in the millions.
Sorry?
It's in the millions.
It's not in the millions. I will not say so. No, I won't be ridiculous. No.
Okay. All right. So right now, the park has been closed.
It's been closed, yes.
It's been closed. Wow, what is happening? So it's been closed. What's happening there?
You know, the tenants are fearful of Mr. Kwashi's revenge. But as I've told you, yesterday, I personally went to that park, you know, and the way you talk to boys, a boy pulled out marijuana, cannabis, and you are telling me you cannot gather evidence. Look, there is illegal activity going on in that place, and he's claiming to claim that property.
So the illegal activities you're talking about, are they linked to...
They're not linked to Self Ghana, no, to that place. To that place on its own. To that place on its own. How can
you mean the community?
The community is not linked with that at all. Self Ghana is a legal entity that's operating illegally in that place.
Okay.
They are not harboring any homosexuals or doing anything like that. You know, I understand that they hosted Harris, okay?
Yes.
And now, you know, in Ghana we have our own policies. We have our own cultures. I am not against LGBTQ, but America has no right to send somebody, a missionary, to come to Ghana to tell Akufo-Addo to abide by American policies of LGBTQ. In America, kids are killing people in school. The jails are filled with black people. Why can't you talk about that thing? Why can she not talk about that thing? But she comes to Africa to lecture us about LGBTQ.
So you disagree that the fact that the U.S. Vice President visited this particular venue when she came to Ghana?
Not this particular venue, but the fact that she came here to talk to Mr. Addo about human rights, including LGBTQ.
Was Kamala not at your...
She was.
She was there?
She was, yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah.
So you are actually disputing the fact that because she visited there, then there could be any true links to the fact that the place could be used for...
No, you see, Kamala Harris, you know, Americans usually try to go to places that are, you know, upbeat, you know, that are new and hip in sound. Self Ghana did miracles, and it was the first skate park in Ghana. And it's owned by a very strong lady, and, you know, she represents a strong female community in Ghana. So she probably thought that would be a right place for her to visit. You know, there are various artists, American artists, who have also visited that property. So, in her right mind, in my right mind, I will visit Self Ghana as well, you know?
Okay.
I will visit Self Ghana as well. But other people in the community have a different opinion about this. So, as that politician came on television and spoke against Self Ghana, that is a big mistake. That's a big mistake. Inquire, gather evidence before you say you are converting homosexual children. This is ridiculous. That's like saying you want to convert a motorbike to a 4x4. Say in this garage today we are converting motorbikes to 4x4. Bring your children. Like that man is not. It's out of his mind. Something good is going on in that property.
Okay.
They are helping the community.
So I
and
don't.
He's talking about conversion.
So again, like I don't want us to because Saka is not here to actually respond.
I was not there when he was in my property.
Right.
I was not there as well.
We'll get the right platform for both of you. We want to just stick to this, but we'll return.
Of
I just
course,
want
definitely.
us to take a quick break. When we return, we'll understand more about this property and then all the details about it. So this is Say It Loud on GhanaWeb TV. We'll return shortly.
I want you so bad, Alpha Cracker. I want you. I wanna say yes, I can't resist. I want you. Ooh, I want you, Alpha Cracker. I want you so bad, Alpha Cracker.
Don't me call one casa.
Have a goodness rich in milk and butter in Alpha Cracker. Yummy and deliciously crunchy.
But I can't resist you.
Alpha Crackers, simply irresistible.
This advert is FDA approved.
I'm still here with Kwame, who is a property owner here in Accra. That property that has come into the news lately over controversies about whether or not it's an LGBTQ plus headquarters or not. Kwame, now I want to know what that land looked like. I'm asking this because the owners of SEF have said that this land was more or less like a bush, or
it was a bush, but a nice bush, to be honest. Too.
Nice bush.
I used to enjoy that bush. Oh.
Okay. So what are you using that place for?
To be honest, it was a very landscape land there. And I have a good friend of mine, Captain Colin Tabaswing, who's an MP here in Ghana. So whenever he comes back from his missions, which are usually in the bush, he's comfortable there. So we go there, we sit down and we talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it becomes like a hangout spot.
A hangout spot. Okay. All right. Now, your tenants who actually are the place now, they say that when they came in, they changed the place because, and you make me understand that it's a waterlogged area. Is it still?
It is not technically a waterlogged area, but what it is that it's the last plot of the road, okay?
Okay.
And there's a fence. So if there was an issue once and the land got flooded. So basically why that happened was because first there was sand.
Okay.
So the land was permeable. It would absorb the water. But when they built a concrete slab, the water could no longer go down.
Okay.
So it flooded the area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Now, even though you are not speaking for self, I just want to, because you are passionate also about this.
Of course, yes.
You say they're dragging the name of a good institution. Now, how many children actually come to that place? The skating park.
I cannot give you a rough number. I'm not aware of that.
But you've seen a number of children there?
I've seen a number of children, yes. And it's a reasonable...
Do you yourself live in the area?
I don't live in the area. I don't live in Ghana.
Okay. Yep. Yes. Okay. So, like you mentioned, you don't live. All right. So, but now I need to just appreciate whether or not this is something that is worrying you only because it's your land or not. What's the biggest concern for you now with all of these things that are going on?
You know what I don't like in this world are opportunists.
Okay.
You know, Fela Kuti says, a politician, like rat, they move from corner, passy, under, passy, right, passy. First, you become a fellow journalist. That's what this man is doing. He has seen an opportunity to come and talk about something that he represents Islam. You do not represent Islam. I'm a Muslim man. You don't tell me that you can come to a property and say, these people represent LGBTQ. Do you even know what LGBTQ stands for? How can you say we are converting children into homosexuality? You cannot convert a child into homosexuality. He needs to be in touch or in contact with something or something in his lifestyle that changed him and made him so. But it's not a conversion, it's not skating that turns a child into homosexual. That's a very uneducated statement. And being a politician, you have to revise your statements. You need to go back home, you need to write it down, you need to know what you are saying on public media. But you know, he speaks for his crowd. He speaks for his crowd. As they say, they will write big English for newspaper that we Africans. They use English that we don't understand and And we say, hey, that's a big man talking.
Let me just get your views on this. There's also a bigger conversation around a supposed cabal that goes around to claim lands. Is this something, because you mentioned this Mr. Kwashi, who for the larger part of our conversation is not someone you say you've met, you don't know the person.
No.
It's just a name.
But he has told me he has come there before.
So the person has come there before?
Yeah, he told me he has come there before. When my mother was alive.
You speak with the person on phone?
When my mother was alive, he told me he was there.
Okay, so that means
he
the
tried
person
to take possession of the land, yeah.
This person is someone you are in touch with?
Yes, I spoke to him on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But do you agree that there's a cabal that goes around prime locations in Accra, to be specific, to actually claim or reclaim people's lands?
That's something that is very common in Ghana, I would say. It's not only in Ghana, you can see that in Kumasi. In Kumasi, the equivalent to be Galamsey boys. The Galamsey boys go around Kumasi looking for a property that is mining gold. Once the gold is mined, pam, they come and take it. Easy peasy, you know. These same guys are here, they have nothing to do. They go around the properties, go around prime locations, looking for properties that are, you know, abandoned or not taken care of. They look for a loophole in the policies and the regulations. They put their name there, and how are you going to find them now? They can claim possession of the land. Progressive possession. What can you say? It's my property. Why are you prepared? What?
So you just really feel that it's people who want to take over, and they don't do this through the legitimate processes?
Of course not. Of course not. There is a legitimate process, of course. You know, if you have been on a property for over 45 years or 20 or a long period of time, dozens of years or so, a person can actually claim possession of the land. And that's not only in Ghana. It happens in France as well. Yeah.
Okay. Now let me just zero in the conversation now. There is a way forward. We want to know what exactly do you want done now? You tell me about threats you receive.
No,
what are those?
They have received threats. The people living in that house.
Okay.
The workers on the side of the land, and that man has threatened them. According to them, of course. I have no full accountability of what I'm saying right now. But according to them, they have been threatened by these workers. So that's why they cannot access the park. Yeah.
So what's the way forward now? Do you deal with the police, by the way?
I don't deal with the police. I deal with the lawyers, because I came late, of course. And when I came to Ghana, I was in Dubai.
Okay.
All my papers are located in a different country, so I came last minute to Ghana. And if you're going to meet police in Ghana, and a man has brought papers with him, a Kwashe boy, he has brought papers with him, he has definitely done a lot more to secure his back. So until my lawyer was ready, that's the only time I can meet. That is the only time that I can meet. And I said Monday is Monday. I am going to this country. On this date, I will meet you on Monday. Simple and short. The guy tried to gain my attention by doing something silly on the land as well. Again. By pouring sand, by continuing construction. So he's just pushing my buttons, you know. But he has my attention now, definitely.
So what are you going to do now to help this? Because I know that there's an appeal online from Save Ghana to actually ensure that this land gets back into their hands and they're able to do what it is that they initially said.
There's an appeal.
Well,
how do you mean an appeal?
Well, the owners have actually called for help from whichever quarters that they can get to be able to ensure that they reclaim the land.
Okay.
So what's going to be the way forward for you? Did you want anything done from anyone at all?
Did I do I need anything done for somebody? To be honest, there's nothing specific that can be done. The public cannot really do anything in this case.
Okay.
This has happened countless times, many times before in the past. If it's your land, it's your land. You cannot come and take me out of my land because you have the public, or because I brought boys from Nima. That's not going to change it. It's my property, it's my property. At the end of the day, it's as simple as that. I'm a fourth generation Ghanaian, a proud Ghanaian. So you want to come to my land and take it, there'll be consequences, of course. There'll be consequences.
All right, Kwame, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
I know this was at short notice.
I know
but
I'm glad that you
agreed to come speak with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
This has been said loud. We just spoke with Kwame. Kwame is the landowner of what we know as the skating park around Shiashi, which recently came into the news over concerns that the place had been closed down. Now he's giving us better and deeper understanding into what the situation is. My name is Eche Atisu. Thank you for joining us. Until another time, be kind to one another.
Today, the yield has gone down, totally down, to an extent that the whole acre, you cannot get 300 tons of cassava out of it.
Somewhere 2 years ago, that Ministry of Food and Agriculture gave us some seedlings. And with that too, they will wait. They wouldn't bring the seedlings early.
Food security does not necessarily mean the availability of food. Is it affordable? Is it available? Is it accessible for the person? So as we speak, people are food insecure within the municipality. But some of them, they cannot afford the food, even though the price is expensive and they don't have access to it.
The activity things that we do that cause contamination. For instance, deforestation. Most of the time, during the chiefly cultivation, you farm here small, you want to go to a different place, you go and destroy the forest.
I want you so bad, alpha cracker. I want you. I wanna say yes, I can't resist. I want you. Ooh, I want you, alpha cracker. I want you so bad, alpha cracker.
Alpha goodness rich in milk and butter. In Alpha Cracker. Yummy and deliciously crunchy.
But I can't resist you.
Alpha Crackers. Simply irresistible.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome to the Ghana ICT Hub, a partnership between MTN Ghana and the Government of Ghana through the Ministry of Communications and Digitization. MTN pledged to support Ghana's digitization agenda in line with its ambition to lead the delivery of digital solutions for Africa's progress. In fulfillment of this pledge, MTN Ghana has committed $25 million toward the realization of the Ghana ICT Hub project. The objectives of the Ghana ICT Hub project is anchored on the following: to create an ICT-enabled environment for human capital and ICT skills development, to develop an ICT ecosystem through remote access delivery to facilitate job creation for national development, to provide a modern, state-of-the-art physical infrastructure to serve as a pillar for the digital Ghana agenda. The physical infrastructure, when completed, will provide 4,000 square meters of space with the following facilities: laboratories for technology training and research, innovation hub, co-working spaces for tech innovation startups, Tier 3 data center, conferencing facilities, offices and meeting rooms, commercial lettable spaces, gaming area, restaurant, ancillary facilities. The technology laboratories will be fitted with the next generation ICT equipment and applications to provide the youth of Ghana with practical training in Industry 4.0 technologies such as artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, cloud computing, 3D printing, robotics, Internet of Things, IoT, advanced manufacturing techniques, cybersecurity, genetic engineering. The project also seeks to establish a complete ecosystem at the hub through remote access delivery to facilitate job creation for national development. The ecosystem shall comprise of MDAs, technology companies, startups, incubators, research agencies, leading universities globally, foundations worldwide, to create a community. 1. The ecosystem community shall bridge the divide between academia and industry and provide solutions to challenges in the key sectors of health, agriculture, and educational sectors of the economy. 2. It shall also run an innovation program providing mentoring and networking for the youth in tech startups. 3. The ecosystem community shall establish an innovation fund to support startups, research agencies, and other entities in the ecosystem. MTN Ghana and the Ministry of Communications and Digitization are championing the Ghana Digital Agenda for Ghana's development. Welcome to the digital age.
Everyone needs the perfect snack to munch on during a fun moment. Wow. Enjoy the tasty McBerry Twist Cupcake, deliciously baked and packaged for a sweet treat. Premium quality cakes baked with love for all, enriched in butter and milk.
Yummy.
Oh, McBerry Twist Cupcakes, simply irresistible. Try one today. This advert is FDA approved.
Good morning, good afternoon to our viewers around the world and especially in sub-Saharan Africa. Welcome to the IMF headquarters in Washington, D.C. I'm Tatiana Mosot with the IMF Communication Department, your host for this special press conference on the Executive Board approval on $3 billion extended credit facility arrangement for Ghana. I'm pleased to introduce you to our special guest, Ken Ofori-Atta, Minister of Finance of Ghana, who is with us. We will be remotely in Accra with Dr. Ernest Addison, the Governor of Ghana Central Bank, and with us also Stéphane Roudet, the IMF Mission Chief for Ghana. Stéphane, the floor is yours.
And thank you, Tatiana, a very good day to all that are joining us today. And of course, I would like to welcome also Minister Ofori-Atta and Governor Addison to this press event. I believe we have some excellent news to discuss today with the approval yesterday of a $3 billion three-year program for Ghana. As you know, Ghana has been facing a severe economic and financial crisis with the debt burden assessed as unsustainable. More specifically, a combination of pre-existing vulnerabilities and external shocks, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, Russia's war in Ukraine, have resulted in acute financing pressures, depreciating cedi, declining international reserves, slowing economic activity, and high inflation. In response to these difficult circumstances, the Ghanaian authorities have taken decisive steps. Just to give you a few examples, the 2023 budget and the associated revenue reforms were very important first steps towards putting public finances back on a sustainable track. To restore debt sustainability, the government has launched a comprehensive debt restructuring. And the Bank of Ghana has also taken decisive steps to control inflation, and these efforts are already paying off. These are all essential ingredients to address the current challenges and to boost Ghana's prospects going forward. Of course, help from the international community is also needed, and the IMF is playing its part. The $3 billion extended credit facility approved by our board yesterday will support the government's efforts to address this crisis and build the foundations for a better and more inclusive future for all Ghanaians. It will also help ease financing constraints, including by unlocking more funding from the rest of the international community. Ghana's economic program has three key objectives. The first one is to restore macroeconomic stability. The second one is to ensure that debt is put on a sustainable path. And the third one is to lay the foundations for stronger and more inclusive growth. To reach these objectives, several policy priorities have been laid out by the government. First, large and front-loaded measures to bring public finances back on a sustainable path. And this will be done by mobilizing more domestic revenue and by improving the efficiency of public spending. Importantly, and I want to emphasize that the program does and will continue to include efforts to protect the vulnerable. Just to give you a few examples, the 2023 budget has, for example, doubled the level of benefits for the existing targeted cash transfer program, the LEAP, the Living Empowerment Against Poverty program. And it has also boosted allocations towards the school feeding program. Second, to support fiscal adjustment and enhance resilience to shocks, ambitious structural reforms will be implemented in the areas of tax policy, revenue administration, public financial management, as well as reforms to address the weaknesses in the energy and the cocoa sectors. Third, and I already referred to that, steps are being taken to bring inflation under control. And the Bank of Ghana has been raising interest rates and has virtually eliminated monetary financing of the budget. A flexible exchange rate policy will also be implemented to help rebuild international reserves. Fourth, measures to preserve financial stability are very central to the program. And last but not least, the government will also be implementing reforms to encourage private investment, higher growth, and job creation. In conclusion, let me highlight that this program and policies and reforms, together with the debt restructuring, will help Ghana overcome immediate economic and financing challenges and pave the way for a brighter future for all Ghanaians.
Thank you, Stefan. Minister, please. I think it's a special day for you and for your country.
Thank you very much, Tatiana. It is indeed a special day. And good afternoon, good morning. And really thank you for joining us for this joint press briefing on Ghana's approved $3 billion standard credit facility with our partners, the International Monetary Fund. A special day indeed for Ghana, a special day for the fund, and really a signal to our other African countries who are looking to be in this program. But on behalf of the President, government, and people of Ghana, I'd like to thank the board and management of the fund for their commitment towards the Ghanaian cause. Let me extend a special appreciation to the IMF Managing Director for her unwavering support and belief in Ghana's ambitions and the reform agenda. Also, we cannot forget the tireless efforts of Deputy Managing Director Mr. Boli for his tireless encouragement of us and the work he did. To the mission chief, Stefan, and the entire mission team, a big thank you for your efforts and constructive dialogue with the government as we work to secure this fund supported ECF program. Also, appreciation to Abebe and Annalisa. And our office here, led by Edie, Bijani, Acosta, and Sauda for all that they have done. We do acknowledge also the pivotal role of our bilateral partners, especially members of the G20 Common Framework, the Paris Club, the work done by the G7, and really the support by India, Saudi, China, and Turkey have been really tremendous in bringing us this far. The financial assurances that were delivered last Friday, May 12, was instrumental in securing yesterday's board approval, and we truly do thank all of them for that. Clearly, it's also a signal that the common framework can be made to work, and we look forward to others following through. So we look forward to fruitful engagement with both our bilateral and private creditors in the days ahead as we work towards achieving debt sustainability that will anchor our economic stability. Ghana's IMF board approval is far from a magic solution wand. What it is, however, is a crucial first step on the necessary journey of strong reforms, inclusive growth, and relentless pursuit of a growth agenda geared towards restoring our economy to a place of strength, prosperity, and resilience. Undoubtedly, the economic toll on our people from the effects of the global public crisis cannot be understated. We are indeed grateful for the forbearance of all Ghanaians in the wake of the domestic debt exchange program, which was difficult but ultimately a necessary exercise. It also has impacted our banking institutions, and we look to work with the banks to make sure that we get the financial stability that is required. Ultimately, the debt exchange program, combined with our multi-year focus on growth, fiscal sustainability, and debt sustainability, should accelerate our economy renaissance. We're already seeing some relative stability in the currency and in inflation, thanks to the work also by the central bank. Indeed, I think we have to move ahead, and as a good book says, we should forget the former things. We should not dwell on the past and see that new things are being done, and we are ready for that. The government of President Akufo-Addo is acutely aware of the enormous task ahead. We will be inspired by the momentum and propel Ghana to attain the staff level agreement, financial assurances from our bilateral creditors, and board approval in near record time to implement this 36-month ECF program. We are certainly on the path towards not just recovery, but also revitalizing our economy. In that regard, I'm confident that government, with the support of the fund and the collective effort of the Ghanaian people, will work through our current challenges and emerge stronger than before. What is being seen is marvelous in our eyes as Ghanaians, and it is a moment of time. Greater things are ahead. We know Ghana can achieve it. We've been through this before, and we are ready to ensure that we set a pace that others can also follow. So let me thank you all once again, also to the Ghanaian people for your forbearance and partnership. God bless us all.
Thank you, Minister. We will go now to Accra to join Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison. Dr. Ernest Addison, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tatiana. And hello, Stefan and Ken. Greetings from Accra. Let me first thank the Mission Chief, Stefan, and the Executive Board of the IMF for yesterday's approval of the Government of Ghana's program request for financial support from the IMF, which will serve as a basis for further engagement between Ghana and our development partners. For those of you who have been following Ghana closely, you will all have lived through this journey with us. Very difficult and challenging times, especially in 2022, which has also led to a crisis and social implications, and could easily have, eroded the hard-earned stability. I want to, however, focus my brief remarks on three issues this afternoon. First, from the perspective of the central bank, and for that matter, the government of Ghana. The approved IMF support program should not be seen as about the money alone, that is the budget support that comes with the approval. While that helps with the current reserves profile for the central bank, what matters most is the fact that the program sets out a set of policy and structural reforms that should help Ghana to reset our economic policy fundamentals, which was dislodged by the crisis over the last year or so. These deep-seated reforms should re-anchor policy and embed irreversibility in our policy outcomes and ensure that buffers are rebuilt to make our economy more resilient. The second point follows from the first, that this is now the time to begin the work. The program approval is just the beginning of the real work of building Ghana better. And thirdly, the Executive Board's approval of the support program yesterday, especially if you look at the time frame within which Ghana secured this approval, is an indication of the strong government's political will and commitment to the reform agenda. The painful sacrifice of Ghanaians, especially through some of the measures such as the domestic debt exchange, which has also helped us reach these conclusions very quickly. So we have reached a point where our key stakeholders should come through very quickly with their support to give meaning to the catalytic role of the fund and help build Ghana better. We see here a clear demonstration of burden sharing, including macro and structural reforms and the domestic debt restructuring. We are looking forward to and continuing to count on an expedited process to conclude the remaining negotiations on external debt restructuring to ensure that Ghana quickly gets the full benefits and complements of these reforms to underpin the policy resetting agenda. On this note, let me once again add my voice to the Minister of Finance to take the opportunity to thank the IMF staff and the Executive Board for working with us through these difficult and challenging times to secure this very important and critical milestone of a fund-supported program. Let me also thank our key stakeholders, bondholders, and bilateral creditors for their demonstrated commitment to support Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Governor. Now we'll go with journalist questions. There are a lot to be connected from Accra and around the world. I think we have with us Joseph Apia Dolphin from Asase Radio, who has a question. Joseph, good afternoon. Are you with us?
Good afternoon.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, Ghana has relied on the IMF for support 17 times. And critics say the support from the fund has never been a solution to the country's challenges. I would like to know what you make out of this. And then one, you have promised to focus on reining in inflation and rebuilding Ghana's foreign reserves. How are you going to do that? Lastly, how will this be done and what will make this support from the IMF different from the previous ones? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we'll start with Stefan first.
Thank you, Joseph, for this question. Look, the first thing I would like to emphasize is that, of course, this program is very much focused on restoring macroeconomic stability, anchoring debt sustainability, and it will also create the foundations for higher and more inclusive growth. So I think that's very important because this will set the stage for a much brighter future for all Ghanaians. But now to your question about the future, I think it's important to emphasize also that this is a program that is very rich in its structural component. It includes many reforms that cover a large range of sectors, and these reforms will make the economy more resilient to shocks in the future. And this is what the government and the IMF are looking for in this program. It's a program that will make the economy more resilient and more likely to withstand shocks in the future.
Minister, you wanted to add?
Yes, I could. Thank you very much for that question. And I think it's one of the major areas of anxiety for all Ghanaians as to what does the 17th time mean and where are we going to go from there. If you realize the program is anchored by a post-COVID program for economic growth, which we developed ourselves. And if you look at the strategies that are in there, the issue of moving our revenue from 13% to revenue to GDP to 18% is an important facet of this so that we have the resources to do what we have to do. A strong sense of expenditure and commitment controls will also be emphasized going forward. And the growth agenda is really strong. How do we create an enabling environment for investments to propel the private sector? So I think it's that clarity that we have gone to the fund enough, and we should use this opportunity as a reset to move forward.
We have Nilate from City FM, City TV. Good afternoon. Nee, can you hear us? We can see him. Please go ahead with your question.
Claire, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. What is your question?
Well, we know that Ghana actually came to the IMF largely because of the country's debt overhang.
Oh, okay. We'll come back to you in a few seconds. Can we go
and
with
also its excessive borrowing, for which reason we lost our access to the international capital market.
Okay, did you?
I think.
But even before the first tranche hits the account of the Bank of Ghana, there are already hints that Ghana will be returning to the capital market soon. First, I want to find out from the finance minister why the rush to return to the international capital market and also to the IMF. What is the official position of the fund and how concerning is this to the program in entirety?
Thank you. I think we have.
I think we heard parts and bits of it, but really my understanding is the concern about borrowing and also what you believe will be a precipitation of our return to the international capital markets. On the issue of borrowing, I mean, the reason for this program is to bring us down to 55% debt to GDP ratio, and that program will hold. Really, in addition to the revenue measures that we saw in the budget and that are improving our GRA, that will give us the resources to move forward. Curtailing and managing our expenditures are going to be important. No, there's no rush to go back to the international capital markets. Our expectation is that in managing our expenditure and increasing our revenue, we'll have the resources to it. Working towards the capital market is important because we then get our ratings up and make the country more attractive for foreign investors, especially FDI. But rest assured that no one is rushing to the international capital markets at this juncture.
Governor, I think you wanted to react before I go back to Stefan on the fund question.
Well, thank you, Tatiana. Just to react to the earlier question on our ability to deliver low inflation, and just to remind ourselves that, the problem in Ghana started only in January 2022, and at the end of 2021, inflation was at 12.6, and within a year, we had seen inflation rise to 54.1%, partly because there was a difficulty in financing the budget. The access to the capital markets was not available, which led to, central bank accommodation of government. And as you're aware, we have signed a memorandum of understanding not to proceed with that going forward. We believe that that would help a great deal in making our monetary policies more effective. Already you can see that inflation has begun a downward descent. The Monetary Policy Committee has been meeting today, and I think we would put out our decisions on that on Monday.
Thank you. Maxwell Adombila, still in Accra from Reuters. Good afternoon, Maxwell.
Good afternoon, Tatiana, and good afternoon to everybody. My question has to do with the timely release of the first 600 million. Is it the case that there will be Ghana needs to meet certain criteria? Okay, just a second, let me get to it. On the issue of securing timely restructuring agreements with external creditors, which the fund alluded to in the statement, does Ghana need to sign an MOU with its official external creditors to secure the next 600 million payout from the program? That is after the first review later this year? I understand there's one in June and there's one towards November, December. So do we have to sign the MOU before we get the 600 million? And then on the external debt restructuring, what is the estimated net present value haircut for that component?
Thank you very much. Stefan, would you like to start?
Sure, Maxwell, good afternoon. Thank you for your questions. You had several ones actually, so let me tackle them in turn. On the first disbursement, there's no additional conditions. The program has been approved yesterday, and the disbursement is available. The money is available to the central bank and to the government. On the timeline for the restructuring of external debt, of course, on the external side, you have two components. You have the debt that is held by official bilateral creditors. The expectation, I believe, the goal, the objective of the Ghanaian authorities is to reach an understanding with official creditors, indeed, by the time of the first review on the specifics of the terms of the restructuring. And of course, you have the second component that has to do with the private sector external debt. And here, I believe the authorities and their advisors are engaging with these commercial creditors, also with the goal of trying to advance the discussions rapidly. So that's for the timeline on the external debt restructuring. I believe you also asked in a way about the timeline of the first review. So the first review of the program will be based on an assessment of the quantitative objectives under the program as of end June. And it will take a few months after that to make this assessment, with the goal of bringing the review to the board in November. So that's the timeline for the first review of the program.
Minister, would you like to add something on?
Yes, Maxwell, thank you very much for the question. As Stefan has mentioned, there's a $600 million release. I'm sure I'll be working with him to see whether we can get it by tomorrow. And then we move on to the next 6 months, which will be another $600 million. And then we have about 5 different tranches every 6 months in the periods forward to get to the $3 billion. With regards to the issue of the negotiations and discussions of commercial and external creditors, we really are, at the beginning of that discussion, and therefore cannot really be specific about what haircuts or how that will end. But so far, discussions have been very cordial, and we hope that with the signals given by the fund, we'll also have an accommodation that will suit all parties. Thank you.
Governor, you wanted to address the same question?
Well, yes, to understand what the question was, the criteria for the June assessment would include the zero central bank financing of the budget, as well as an indicator, I believe, on the primary balance. So these are going to be key in making the assessments in June, and that probably would help trigger another disbursement after that assessment. But just for your information, we have had a swift advice today to receive the money, value date tomorrow, to $604 million US dollars.
Thank you. I guess it answered to Maxwell's second question, which was about the second disbursement. We have Edna Agnes Boyake from City News. Her question is, how does the IMF envision the extended credit facility contributing to macroeconomic stability in Ghana, particularly in areas such as inflation control and exchange rate stability? Stefan, maybe.
Thank you for this question. It is really a broad question, because It's a program that is quite comprehensive, both in terms of the content on the policy front, but also on the structural reform front. And all of these efforts combined will contribute to macroeconomic stability going forward. On the inflation side, I believe I will flag two key planks of the program that I have already mentioned before. One is the very substantial and ambitious fiscal consolidation program that the Ghanaian government has embarked on. Of course, this will have, it will help reduce pressures on prices and will contribute to controlling and bringing inflation further down. And then, of course, the other aspect that I mentioned is the bold steps that have been taken by the Bank of Ghana in raising interest rates and in eliminating monetary financing of the deficit, both policies that are very, very critical to bring inflation down. And that have already started bearing fruits. On the reserve side, again, many aspects will contribute to increasing the reserves. Of course, the policies that I just talked about will help improve the external position in Ghana. It will help contribute to tame the growth of imports. It will help make the economy more competitive and bring exports higher. All of that will contribute to a more favorable external position, which in itself will lead to higher reserves. And of course, there is the impact of the program on the financing side, financing from the IMF, but also the financing that will help, that will be catalyzed through the IMF program from other partners that will all contribute to bolstering the international reserve position in Ghana.
Minister, would you like to address the City News question too?
No, I suspect maybe Governor, inflation and exchange control will be a great place for Governor to chime in on this one.
Governor, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Minister. I think that Stefan hit the nail on the point. The issue is about resilience, and this is really what I tried to explain in my earlier intervention, that as at the end of 2021, inflation was at 12.6, and within a year it rose to 54.6 because we had a major challenge with access to financing, especially. And as Stefan said, a major part of this program is focused on fiscal consolidation. As you're aware, there are new revenue measures which should enhance revenue flows to the budget and therefore reduce the demand for financing. You've also had the implementation of the debt exchange program. So the foreign exchange outflows that are associated with debt service should reduce. And then the catalytic impact of the IMF flows, which would also help attract other foreign inflows, both direct and bilateral support. And all of that should help, in a sense, not only bring inflation down, but also help with exchange rate stability.
Thank you, Governor. So now we have a question from Francis Stowe from Ghana News Agency. Francis, are you with us? Francis? Francis, who is in Accra.
Yeah, I'd muted myself, sorry.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. I guess you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead with your question.
Great. So we've seen the government introducing various revenue measures. Since the economic hardship began, there have been various calls for some expenditure rationalization, with a major call on the government to reduce the size of its current government. I would like to know from the fund, would the reduction of the number of will the reduction in the size of government have any impact on the current program that the government is seeking for? And I also want to find out from the finance minister. Already we've seen some banks recording losses, what exactly is the government going to do to ensure that banks are supported enough to provide funds to businesses, and how much has the Stability Fund been able to get so far? And the last will be the fund, the 600 million that's coming in tomorrow, as the Bank of Ghana governor stated. What exactly is this fund or this money going to be used for? Thank you.
Thank you. Francis Nto from the Ghana Broadcast News Agency, who would like to address his several questions. He has several ones. Stefan.
I can take a crack at it, and thank you, Francis. I am not sure I understood fully the first question, but I heard you talking about revenue measures and also reducing the size of the government. And so I think what I'll say on that is that indeed the program is quite ambitious in terms of putting the government finances on the sound footing going forward and ensuring sustainability on that front. And there are really two key components to this. One is the one that you were referring to these revenue measures. The program is ambitious on that front. The government has set for itself the objective of increasing the ratio of revenues that are raised domestically substantially over the next few years. And this is very important, of course, to contribute to the reduction in the size of the deficit. But more generally, going beyond that, it is also an important goal to bring the revenue ratio in Ghana closer to peers in the region, and this will contribute to making public finances much more resilient to shocks going forward. It will also create space for the government to spend more on priority spending, on helping the most vulnerable, and in implementing its vision for economic development and having more expenditure focus on priority spending and infrastructure going forward. On the spending side, the reduction of spending I would say what is the most important is for the government to be able to provide better services at a lower cost, to make government expenditure more efficient. And this is, again, an objective that the government has set for itself. And there are a number of reforms under the program, particularly on public financial management, enhancing fiscal transparency, all of those aspects that the minister mentioned earlier in the event that are also very important. I will perhaps let the minister and the governor talk about support to banks. And there was a question more specific to the fund, I believe, at the end, but I cannot remember.
We'll go back to it. Minister, would you like to address this question?
Great. Thank you very much, Francis. Very, very good questions. With regards to the banks, yes, we went through the DDEP program, and we have all seen the effect on the banking sector, and therefore the structure of the Ghana Financial Stability Fund, which we intend to fund with up to $1.5 billion, $250 million from the World Bank, and government to contribute $500 million as we still speak to our development partners for them to participate in that. But the exercise, as you know, was really crucial to be able to reduce the level of interest that we are paying to support our debt. So yes, the World Bank should hopefully in the third quarter be able to bring that initial support going forward. As you know, we are running a budget deficit. We are also agreeing for zero financing for that. So to continue to support the programs that we have is where the $600 million will be deployed. I think going forward, the issue of efficiency of government and efficiency of services to the people are going to be key, and therefore finding ways of ensuring that we're efficient in our deployment that we have. So that's going to be key. I think for all of us in Ghana to really internalize that there's a new era with regards to our own behavior, re-engineering, and the type of imports that we have, moving towards food security, so the importation of rice and poultry and tomatoes, etc., are brought down, and we produce those ourselves. That really will signal a new way forward that will increase the resilience and sustainability of the program.
Thank you, Minister. I think the question on the fund, Stefan, we will follow up with Francis bilaterally. We had a question from Edward Nyako from Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. May I know if the IMF program will lead to a cut in social programs such as LEAP, capitation grant, and the fee SHS? Minister, would you like to address this question?
Thank you very much, Edward. And you had Stefan on this issue, the issue of ensuring that we protect the vulnerable is very clear in the program. So I think we have increased the resource envelope for the school feeding program. We are doubling, I think, the LEAP program to ensure that the welfare support continues. So no, we should not worry about that. And you have always had the President being very clear about ensuring the protection of lives and livelihood, and that spirit will continue.
Stefan, would you like to complete?
Well, no, I'll just add that, as the Minister said, ensuring adequate social protection is a key objective of the program. The budget, 2023 budget, has already taken important steps in this regard to not only to protect, but I would say to bolster support to the vulnerable through the most effective and the most targeted programs. But I'd say also, and I would encourage everyone to go and look at the staff report that has been published yesterday. It includes a lot of analysis and descriptions of how the program will go about monitoring these aspects and ensuring that in the face of what could be difficult policies to implement on the fiscal consolidation front, these are implemented in a way that is the least disruptive as possible, and by not only protecting but increasing the coverage of the effective social programs.
We have another question from Bloomberg News. Moses Mozart Zuadzu, are you with us, Moses? I don't know if he's connected. Moses, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah. My first question, the IMF has said the central bank has to do more in terms of increasing rates. We'd just like to know how would that be implemented, considering that the rates are already high? That's our first question. Our second question is, what sort of debt relief do we expect from the bilateral creditors? Is it going to be rescheduling of debt, debt forgiveness, principal haircut, and or interest haircut? And directly linked to that, what about the commercial creditors? What sort of debt relief are we working to get in from this group of investors? Thank you.
Governor, I would like to know if you were able to hear Moses very well, because I think this question was mostly for central bank.
Yes, Tatiana, I heard him very well. I think he misunderstood what the IMF said. I think the IMF statement was that we have to keep a tight monetary policy stance until we are sure that inflation is firmly on a downward path. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we would have to be increasing our policy rate. But then on the issue of the impact of the debt exchange on the banks, I'd wanted to say a few things. First, to say that banks are very liquid. We don't see that the banks are having any difficulty with liquidity. And in any case, the Bank of Ghana stands ready to provide liquidity for any banks that may have future liquidity issues. And also to add that the main impact of the debt exchange was to reduce the capital buffers of the banks. So what we have done is to give them some regulatory forbearance. We reduce the capital conservation buffer of 3%, and that reduces the capital adequacy ratio from 13 to 10%. And we've given them a period of 3 years to rebuild their capital buffers. So we think that the banks will be fine. Shareholders will systematically rebuild these capital buffers. And the government as a shareholder would also find resources to rebuild capital buffers of the state-owned banks. Thanks.
Thank you. Kemi Osokuya, you have a question for us from Africa Bazaar magazine. Are you connected? Good afternoon or good morning. I guess you are in the US. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Finance Minister and Mr. Governor. Thank you for taking my question. I wanted to find out that, given what is going on, the US dollar is not known as the global currency. And I was wondering if you have any concern regarding the inflation in the US and also the Federal Reserve recent interest rate rise, how that will impact your new agenda to strengthen buffer and also attract foreign investment to Ghana.
Kemi, I'm really sorry. We can't hear you very well. I guess we will have to take your question in a few minutes. Before going back to your question, we'll go with Joy FM, George Wafie. George, are you with us? George? You're muted, I think, George. Can you...
Yes. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Now we can hear you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Tatiana, some quick questions here. Some people are worried about the time taken to approve Ghana's program and the fear and the concern that the process was rushed. Could it expose the program to any shocks going forward? And that's the clarity I want to get as well. And also to the mission chief. In terms of the conditionalities, if Ghana should breach meeting of any of the critical benchmarks, would that affect fresh disbursement to the country as well? In terms of even if it's one of them, would that impact on getting additional funding from the IMF? And also the final one to the minister as well. In terms of discussions, the World Bank is coming on board with some support. What about the other donor partners as well? What is their commitment to this program in terms of the financing assurance?
Thank you, George. Minister or Stefan? Minister, I see that you're looking at Stefan, so...
No, I could. I mean, George, thank you very much. And really, I think Kemi's issue was more of an issue of contagion effect, i.e., as U.S. rates go up, how does it trickle into our economy? That generally, affects all of us once rates go up. The weaknesses in the banking system also affects credit to Africa, to Ghana, etc. So those are all things that then becomes a responsibility of Ghana or other African countries to reduce imports and become more sustainable in the way in which we stop importing some $70 billion worth of food onto the continent. If we change that equation, we'll be able to shield ourselves better. George, 3 questions on the issue of being apprehensive about how countries such as Zambia, Chad, and Ethiopia have not been able to go through bringing much distress to the economies, and the way in which Ghana has been able to work assiduously with the fund and the partners to have this landmark decision yesterday really should be considered an achievement instead of, saying that it has been rushed. The program, as Stefan said, is rich and solid, and I really would encourage you to read the documents for you to know that. I think when we are able to do good work, we should be courageous enough to enjoy and savor the achievement and not turn it into a negative. And with regards to the benchmarks are clear. It is up to us in the same vein in which we were able to achieve the agreement yesterday and approval yesterday, and that we also work hard to make sure that the benchmarks are met as we go forward. On the issue of the Financial Stability Fund, yes, the World Bank has committed. We are still in negotiations with other development partners to see their role in that. And we are confident that the manner in which we all have managed the process so far will also make some major breakthroughs going forward. So thank you.
Stefan.
George, on your 3, good afternoon, first of all, but on your 3 points, I will also respond to you in a very, very positive and very optimistic manner. I think today is, we have a lot of reason to be happy and to celebrate with the program approval. I will just remind you that it took a few months to achieve an agreement and to reach the staff level agreement. This was already very, very good news, but I think today having the program approval in just a few months after the staff level agreement, this is also something that is extremely positive. Positive for Ghana, but I believe positive for the countries that may have to come and seek that relief under the common framework going forward. On your question about the structural benchmarks, today I am extremely positive. What I see is a very strong commitment from the authorities, and I have no reason to believe that the program will not be fully implemented going forward. And we are here and standing by the authorities to help them do so. And then finally, I believe the program approval is also an extremely good news with respect to your 3rd question, which is about World Bank and other partners' support. I think it sends a very strong signal to the international community and other international organizations that the program is in place, that the authorities are committed, and it can only help catalyze additional financing for Ghana.
We have 2 last questions, one from Nabil Ahmed from CGTN and another one from Benjamin Taiwa, Class 91.3 FM in Ghana. Nabil Ahmed, please, can you share your questions? Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much. So I just have 2 brief questions, and it has to do with the fact that Ghana managed to get financial assurances from the bilateral creditors group that's co-chaired by China and France. Now,
Nabil?
With external debts. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yes, I just want to find out whether it is clear what the debt restructuring agreement with external creditors look like at the moment. And has there been any progress on negotiations with Eurobond holders to restructure the debt owed to private investors? Thank you.
Thank you. And the other question is from Benjamin Tawia from Class 91.3 FM in Accra. Are you with us, Benjamin? I think you're muted. Class FM. Okay, we'll start with Nabil Ahmed question, gentlemen, if you want.
Nabil, thank you very much indeed. I think last Friday was actually quite a seminal moment for the whole common framework G20 expedition, we would say, because it has been really difficult for a lot of countries. The co-chair by France and China and the discussions that went on for the assurances to be given on Friday were timely, well thought out, and also it's an indication of how we may be able to work with the common framework more effectively for other countries that are coming up. With regards to the external creditors and the Eurobond investors, as I mentioned earlier, we've started those discussions, and given the signaling that has come from the fund, that would sort of influence the environment and the discourse. But there's a lot of optimism about exactly where Ghana is going, and that if any country can do it, Ghana can do it. I understand that even at the board meeting yesterday, there was actually a spontaneous clapping when it was approved. So that is how strong people are feeling about our country, and that's because we have done it before. As you know, before COVID, we were at about 7% growth. Inflation was down to single digits, etc. And I think we were on a good trajectory until the incidents that have been quite cataclysmic for the whole world. So there's excitement going forward. We are confident that we will fulfill the structural targets that we have set. And we really are calling on all Ghanaians to join in this effort to make it happen.
We are almost at the end of this press conference, but I would like to try to go to Accra again with Class 91.3 FM. Are you, Benjamin, are you online with us, please? Benjamin, can you hear us? Yes, they are. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Benjamin. Can you hear us? It looks like it's complicated for Class FM to connect. I would like to, before we close this special press conference, I would like to give you a...
Can you hear me?
Benjamin, we can hear you. It's a little bit...
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
Good. My question is directed to Stephanie and IMF. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Right. My question is directed to Stephanie and IMF. And the first, I want to find out, considering Ghana's history of overborrowing and government's reckless expenditure, coupled with a lot of figures that the IMF will mention, that the IMF will contradict figures, how confident is the IMF in Ghana's ability to improve the necessary reforms to address the root cause of its debt crisis and to achieve a long-term economic stability? With what specific conditions and measures has the IMF set forth as part of the bailout package, and how would that impact on Ghana's economy, particularly in terms of social welfare and government spending? That is my first question. My second question has to do with what mechanisms or safeguards are in place to prevent the reoccurrence of the unsustainable debt levels in the near future. Given the volatility of global markets and the potential for external shocks, what contingency plans or support will the IMF provide to Ghana to help mitigate risk and ensure the sustainability of its economic recovery efforts?
Thank you very much, Benjamin. Stephanie will address these last questions.
Benjamin, thank you for your questions. I will tackle all of them at once because they are very much related in a way. I think you're asking what makes us at the IMF confident, or what makes us confident at the current juncture is the strength of the program that the government and the authorities in general have put together, and that the IMF is going to support. And the strength of the program is true on two fronts. First, on the policies that will be implemented in the program. I talked about the revenue side, the expenditure side before. These policies are very sound policies, and we have mechanisms to monitor the implementation of the program going forward, and that makes us all quite confident about how policies are going to be conducted over the next few years. But I would say also, and repeat again, that the program is very rich on the structural side. And what that means is that the government is very committed to implement reforms that will help improve policy frameworks going forward, making sure that these improvements that we are going to see and that we are seeing already today are embedded in frameworks that are lasting and that will continue to last well past the end of this program. So on both counts, very confident and optimistic.
Thank you very much. It's already the end of this press conference. I know that you were a lot to be connected and to have many questions. Just a reminder that the presser will be rebroadcasted in its entirety on the imf.org, and we will alert all the media as soon as ready. I would like to thank Minister Ofori-Atta, Governor Addison, who was remotely in Accra, and you, Stefan Rude, the mission chief, for being with us. I'm pretty sure that the next mission will be a success too in June. Stefan, is that right?
Yes, of course. Very, very, very optimistic.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Governor, for being with us. And thank you, all the media, for being connected today.
Today, the yield has gone down, totally down, to understand that the whole acre, you cannot get 300 tons of cassava out of it.
Well, 2 years ago, that Ministry of Food and Agriculture gave us some seedlings. And with that too, they will wait. They wouldn't bring the seedlings early.
Food security is not necessarily mean the availability of food. Is it affordable? Is it available? Is it accessible for the person? So as we speak, people are food insecure within the municipality. But some of them, they cannot afford the food, even though it's expensive, and they have access to it.
The activity things that we do that cause damage. For instance, deforestation. Most of the time during the chiefly cultivation, you farm here small, you want to go to a different place, you go and destroy the forest.
I want you so bad, Alpha Cracker. I want you. I wanna say yes, I can't resist. I want you. Ooh, I want you, Alpha Cracker. I want you so bad, Alpha Cracker.
Alpha goodness rich in milk and butter. In Alpha Cracker. Yummy and deliciously crunchy.
But I can't resist you.
Alpha Crackers. Simply irresistible.
This advert is FDA approved.
Everyone needs the perfect snack to munch on during a fun moment. Wow. Enjoy the tasty McBerry Twist cupcakes, deliciously baked and packaged for a sweet treat. Premium quality cakes baked with love for all, enriched in butter and milk.
Yummy.
Oh, McBerry Twist cupcakes, simply irresistible. Try one today. This advert is FDA approved.
Now, back canocre. Susu sang pine, be I want on and be a man in quite baby.
Mommy, you basically see about Kotoso. People got sending me sick from Lemonade Finance. While Brian did the shade and let me £2.
Lemonade Finance.
Say they're sending money back home from UK, Canada, and now US. I accepted a instant charges. Exchange rate in Suya. Unbeatable. We should me promo code Dr. Like Nenya £10, $10, and $10 Canadian for the first transaction. With this send this download to Lemonade Finance.
Welcome to the Ghana ICT Hub, a partnership between MTN Ghana and the Government of Ghana through the Ministry of Communications and Digitization. MTN pledged to support Ghana's digitization agenda in line with its ambition to lead the delivery of digital solutions for Africa's progress. In fulfillment of this pledge, MTN Ghana has committed $25 million toward the realization of the Ghana ICT Hub project. The objectives of the Ghana ICT Hub project is anchored on the following: to create an ICT-enabled environment for human capital and ICT skills development, to develop an ICT ecosystem through remote access delivery to facilitate job creation for national development, to provide a modern, state-of-the-art physical infrastructure to serve as a pillar for the digital Ghana agenda. The physical infrastructure, when completed, will provide 4,000 square meters of space with the following facilities: laboratories for technology training and research, innovation hub, co-working spaces for tech innovation startups, Tier 3 data center, conferencing facilities, offices and meeting rooms, commercial lettable spaces, gaming area, restaurant, ancillary facilities. The technology laboratories will be fitted with the next generation ICT equipment and applications to provide the youth of Ghana with practical training in Industry 4.0 technologies such as artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, cloud computing, 3D printing, robotics, Internet of Things, IoT, advanced manufacturing techniques, cybersecurity, genetic engineering. The project also seeks to establish a complete ecosystem at the hub through remote access delivery to facilitate job creation for national development. The ecosystem shall comprise of MDAs, technology companies, startups, incubators, research agencies, leading universities globally, foundations worldwide, to create a community. 1. The ecosystem community shall bridge the divide between academia and industry and provide solutions to challenges in the key sectors of health, agriculture, and educational sectors of the economy. 2. It shall also run an innovation program providing mentoring and networking for the youth in tech startups. 3. The ecosystem community shall establish an innovation fund to support startups, research agencies, and other entities in the ecosystem. MTN Ghana and the Ministry of Communications and Digitization are championing the Ghana digital agenda for Ghana's development. Welcome to the digital age.
How be shows 6:33?
I don't know.
Okay. 6:33. But we go on the dot.
6:32.
Okay. Hi, right, thanks for joining us in this episode of Bloggers Forum. My name is Benefo Boabin. You can call me Abrantipa. Today we have comedians on the show as well as a magician. I'm sure you've been attending some of the comedy shows that have been held across the country, in Accra, in Kumasi, Tamale. The last time I saw them in Ho. So we're having a conversation on comedy and magic. Bernard the magician, as the name suggests, Uyinkonya is a magician. Ben, thanks for joining us. What shall I say with the magic, Anna? Okay.
In the spirit, you're welcome.
Thanks
for the invite.
Kojo PJ is a stand-up comedian, script writer as well. Kojo, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, boss.
And then Jerry, your surname there, forgive me.
Jerry is fine.
Okay, because anytime I try to mention it, me can't cross him. Jerry is also a stand-up comedian. Thanks for joining us on this show. So let me begin with the comedians. A lot of the time, you've heard that people say that Ghanaian comedians are not funny. I mean, those were no. Hey, Oprio. We are so that mantra had been chorus for a very long time until people began to troop to the venues for your shows. What do you think did the magic? What did you guys do right?
I'm here, the magic. Consistency. You didn't do the magic. Consistency and hard work. Yeah, because when stand-up comedy started for in Ghana, Ghanaians were beginning, but then at the time the Nigerians had advanced a bit, so we're faced with that kind of comparison. Like somebody that has done it for a longer time and then somebody that is starting. And then they put us on the same scale and started comparing us and bringing us down. But with consistency and work, we got to the point where we also reached that level that they started comparing us to. And now everybody has accepted Ghanaian comedy.
Okay, so you think that it was more of you guys not doing more of the shows?
No, not.
Is that what the consistency is about?
Yeah, consistency is the shows. We're doing more shows.
Right.
And now we even have a comedy club where every week, Thursday, we are there trying new materials. Yeah, and practice makes perfect. So the more you do it, the better you become. And now we have more arsenals than before.
Okay, Jerry, that's the same narrative.
Yeah. Apart from our consistency working for us, I think the faith that the Ghanaian audience had in us to come to our shows also worked for us. Because if you keep hearing that a group of boys who call themselves comedians are not funny, I mean, you should believe in them to go to their show and see if it is true, and then you keep attending. You get so consistency on our part, hard work on our part, and then the faith and belief of the Ghanaian audience in us. And we didn't disappoint. I mean, we are still not going to disappoint. Back to back.
And I've seen Bernard the magician at, I think it's only one comedy show that I attended that he hasn't been on.
This guy.
So how did you come into the picture?
By magic.
He's on the stage.
Oh well. Prior to my starting professionally, I had seen the notion around magic in Ghana. Right? In Ghana, movie you see 5 black cars in a convoy. If you hear magic, it's fetish. All these things, and I think I had come across someone do magic, and just once on TV. It's like, okay. Prior to that, my dad also is a magician. Yeah, so he
runs through the family.
Your father is a magician?
My father is
in Ghana.
Yeah, but he's not a professional magician. So he does it on the low key. Growing up, I saw him do that, and I felt, once I have that skill. All throughout high school to university, I was doing magic. Someone's birthday party, just random stuff. He said, okay, I was going to Kung Fu first. One of the various avenues I could have used to let people know there is magic in Ghana, there is a magician around, I think was through the comedy avenue. So I think I've worked with them for quite some time now. Yeah, in as much as I create my own part, I believe
in the collective efforts, and I wouldn't be able to say my story as a magician without mentioning Ghana comedy having an impact in it. Yeah.
So what you were saying something?
Someday when he blows,
yeah.
Unlike Black Hole, we know who blew him.
Yeah. You know.
What does it take to be a magician? You said your father is. So if I want to be a magician, what do I do?
You wake up, you pray, you sing. Magician. I'm lying in this, but to be a magician. So to be a magician, actually, there are various facets of it. First of all, you need to have that innate ability. Let me just oppose it to people who do music. Like, they are naturally born talented musicians. So that's one aspect of it. Personally, I'm ambidextrous. I'm very good with my fingers. Like, manipulating objects, not what you are thinking. I know what
I'm not thinking. I don't think.
Then don't think.
I don't think at all.
Yeah, checking ambidextrous.
Let me Google ambidextrous.
Oh, ambidextrous. Someone with two hands. And I solved the Rubik's Cube very fast and trying to shuffle cards.
Maybe ambidextrous.
So
what's not Rubik's Cube?
So naturally, it's something that comes easy to me. That's one aspect of it. That aside, there is the practice aspect of it, where, like any musician, regardless of how good you are, you actually have to practice your work. We know of very good musicians who actually do voice training, have professional voice trainers and stuff. So it's a lot of things. First, you need to have that ability. You need to also practice on it, and you need mentors to help you along that line.
So with what you do, is it a trick? And now you do juju?
Usually, I just leave it to people to decide and judge for themselves. Yeah. As whether it's, see, I tell them, a trick. Like, what lie? And yet, then I meet people and I'm like, now there's something behind it. They're like, so it's just up to people. It's an art form. Regardless, I always advocate that people appreciate the art form and not growing up we heard Ronaldinho when he's playing football, he calls saints. I'm born or born, not saints so free him. So just leave it to people. Whether you think he's calling saints or he's naturally talented, the end result is he's a good footballer. So that's what magic is for me. I'm not really concerned about how people consider whether it's trickery or it has some supernatural aspect to it.
Have you ever failed on stage?
Failed?
Yes.
Failed. Yeah.
Because I know for comedians sometimes they can go blank.
Yeah. I'm indomitable. Goodness.
Really?
Many failure.
Indomitable.
Yes, yeah, indomitable. And yes, me indomie.
House of Lions.
Well, I barely fail. This is when this is where the natural talent or the natural ability to do magic comes in. There are moments maybe I plan on doing A, it doesn't go as planned, but then I'm able to maneuver my way and do something like C. To me, probably I realized, okay, this was the path I wanted to take. I ended up doing this. To the audience, they feel, wow, that's good. This guy is so superb. So I don't call them failures. I think there are moments I've deviated from what I wanted to do, but also gotten better results in the deviance.
When you are going on stage, does it sometimes appear to you as though there may be someone in the crowd who may want to sabotage your work? Or the night team from
every time. Every time. There are times, there was this one time I performed at the 1,000 and something laughs, that series. And there was this guy, he had been training me for long.
So the one can't tie you.
Yeah, he tied it to you.
Oh, I think I was there.
There is this one.
Yeah.
In a flash.
I was there. Yes.
I don't know where this guy came from. I don't know.
The guy actually tied you, and as soon as the guy turned,
there were blood traces on my from the tension. I felt it was very. I was like, yo, this is to entertain people, not to kill me on stage. So there are people who actually come there to sabotage. And I think it's same for comedians. I've gone for certain comedy shows, then I'll see someone on mirror.
Just why it's once ready, I'm working the once ready. So how do you guys feel when you are on stage? You think you are doing your best, and the response is not what you expected. Like they are not laughing. They don't find the joke funny.
The trick is find the person that is having a good time and focus on them. Because here's the thing: most of the time, more people are having more fun than just some 3 people who are there. And some people, their sense of humor is funny. I say, Obi wow, what's it? Joke near cannot tell. Ezra, the 9 or Obi. I'm not saying do you any more? I guess I'm quite on. But poor show, don't know what it's I really enjoy those shows. But you were not laughing. Oh, no, I was laughing. I was stopping. So sometimes, if you're with the wrong meaning, there are some people they just laugh within them. I don't know. But so focus on the person that is really having a good time, turning in their chair now. They I don't know.
To what extent would you say Bernard the Magician's act has complemented what you guys do on stage?
Has it complemented?
Oh yeah, I think. Well, in light of comedy, since I usually perform on comedy shows, I tailor my acts to be somehow comical, usually comical. Like even for the moment the guy tied me, in as much as there are improvs, I try to make light-hearted comments alongside. So yeah, I usually one thing about what I do is I make sure I adapt it to every situation. So there are instances I perform before diplomats, and I'll try to curate whatever speech I give according to that situation. And I've performed magic for a carol service before, and whatever I did was carol service related.
Carol service?
Yeah, it was
being organized by an event organizing firm or a church?
Pediase Valley Resort.
Okay.
They did their carol service, so it was it's a religious thing. And I've also done it at a church before, like someone I had to do something. Regardless, I'm able to.
So what did you do there? Like, what was the performance?
A performance,
yeah.
Raise the dead.
Oh no. I think it was about a certain rope act. Yeah. But regardless, it's the message that follows that matter. So yeah, I think it's all about what you want to do. Example, if he's supposed to do a comical act or a comic performance at MTN, I'm not sure he'll be saying things that has to do with military. Definitely they are able to write scripts and stuff that relates to the current.
So
it depends. It depends on what. But usually for these people, they are so good that they don't go off their situation. So you don't see them giving funeral jokes at weddings, and you won't see them giving how do you call it, football jokes at Ampi.
Yeah. You need to know the audience.
Yes.
Okay.
Point of correction, we don't do Ampi shows.
Maybe a show for girls. I hope that works. PJ, your show is
it's on
13th.
Yeah.
Okay.
This Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the show.
Yeah.
Who is performing? First of all, why are you organizing the show?
Yeah. So for every stand-up comedian, there comes a time where you need to stage a comedy special. Comedy special is usually 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 1 hour of jokes that you've written back to back. It is what shows that you've really matured in the comedy game. Yeah, more like an album for a musician, for a comedian, it's a comedy special. Yeah. So if you do that, it means a human way, and I say I'll name why. Yeah. So that's the level we've got into. We've matured in the game. We need to do a comedy special to certify that maturity.
At least your response is far better than Efri Akutu, Dr. Efri Akutu. Why do you want to be president? Yeah.
What did he say?
Please, his name is Abrante.
So 13th, where is it happening? Who is performing alongside you?
So 13th, the creme de la creme of Ghana comedy. Everybody is going to be on that stage, from Clemento Suarez, who is emceeing. We have Obi Aponsa, Lexi the comic, General Tatia, James Brown, and then when you come to the new age, to myself, Jerry will be there, Ojo, Ranzi, Aloes, Papaya, right? And then we have some new young guys coming up, Pamela Bed, Unknown, a comedian called Unknown.
You know
so
him?
No.
Exactly.
So he's on.
And when he blows, he change word.
Sometimes known.
I see. Interesting.
So they will all be there. It's going to be back-to-back comedy and a few musical performances. Kwampa will be passing through. So
Okay. And a week after your show, Bernard the Magician is also having his show. What should we expect?
Yeah, expect. Don't expect much, because regardless of the expectation you set, I'll break that expectation. So it's up to you. Just whether you expect or you don't expect, you leave out with something wild. I think this is the best you would ever see. Outside, they do magic shows and stuff. I think for Ghana, we barely see that. You just see people hop onto other shows like I've been doing for a while now. This time around, I'm going to give a very long presentation in 2 different folds of just complete magic, trust me. I usually think of what I'll be doing that day or that night and I'm scared. It's very wild. Like for whatever best magic you've seen me perform, triple it.
You make an elephant vanish.
So I need you behind.
So, are we seeing other magicians, or is it about you?
I'm the only magician.
You're the only magician.
Yeah, but then I'm bringing on board a number of other acts. So there is comedy. The MC for the night is Clemento Suarez, and they can attest that guy has been supportive, not just to magicians and even not just to comedians and magicians. I think some musicians he pushed. So he's the MC for the night. There is Obian Ponta and DKB doing the comedy. Then when I'm bringing spoken word artists, so Rhyme Sonny and Jeffrey Norte, they'll be doing spoken word. Then we have for music, Bogoble, I don't know if you've heard.
Mambo Bogoble.
Yeah. So he'll be
Ezam Matri. Maria Marie.
Yeah. Then the final musician is there is Soul Street, it's an a cappella group.
Okay.
They are very good. And Kwabna. It's going to be an exploration of various emotions. You are going to laugh, you might cry a little bit, you feel emotional, you are going to fall in love. Don't worry, some of the acts, trust me.
So, outside the box by Kojo is happening at the Snap Cinema. Okay.
So the magic industry, you don't have like upcoming magicians?
Well, I've seen a couple of people do magic, like card tricks and stuff. But you know, when we are doing stage magic, it's a lot different from personal one.
Yeah.
What I'll do on an interview, close up, one-on-one, let's say for an audience of 20, I wouldn't do the same thing in a stadium, right? And I think that's the challenge I'm having with most of these people coming up. They are just so focused on the normal tricks they learn on YouTube and stuff, to the extent that what I do, they are not able to do. So that's the challenge. Until I find out that people are able to do stage stuff, then I would invite them.
Okay. So outside the box by Kojo PJ is happening at the Snap Cinema. 13th. 7 o'clock. 6:30.
33 p.m. 6:33.
I'll be sure it's 6:33.
Only 6:33.
And today we are 6:30.
But we'll go on the dot.
6:31. 6:32.
Okay. So 6:33.
So we are also giving them
6:33. Okay. Bernard, where is yours happening?
6:34. Association International School. My time is 6:23 p.m.
Thank you.
Oh no, it's a magic show. You don't.
Okay.
Let's give the underground.
Okay.
Yeah, underground
numbers.
Platform. So,
okay.
6:23 p.m. Association International Airport Residential.
Okay.
Area. I think that's 6:23 is when I would appear on stage. So it's not that's when the program starts, but that's when I appear on stage.
Okay.
There will be opening acts and conversations. So if you are going to come, make sure you are seated before 6 p.m. And trust me, I'm sure I'll shock people. I'll be waiting to do last minute stuff.
Okay, so are you going to shock us now?
Or if you want me to shock you, I can.
Right.
I can.
Let's do something.
Please bring the electrical cables.
Let's do something and then we bring. Oh, bring it. Bra oba short ni mo enye hwe. And I'm more farmer casing famra. Oh, the Kessie.
Is it this one or something else?
Okay,
come on.
Can you come? Kessie, please come.
Oh, yeah, you can come.
So Kessie is coming. Let's see. Kessie, come. Don't worry.
Don't be shy, okay?
Menstrual. So direct where he should stand.
Okay.
He just needs to face one of our cameras.
Okay, then stand here so the camera. Yes, I'm going to do this with there's the jokers. Oh, I don't have the jokers here because they decided not to come. It's fine. Let me set these apart and use the jokers from here. That's to even tell you something else. I just need 2 jokers. Let me use the black ones here. So kindly hold this for me. You can set them apart. It's not funny. So real quick, yes, say stop wherever I want. Stop. Pick it and don't let me see. Show it to the camera.
I'll just show it to the camera.
Oh, show it to the camera. Have you seen it? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Just bring it. It's not a problem. Hey, I said move. Sabotage. First, would you want to shuffle or it's just fine?
Let me shuffle.
It's a shuffle. Yeah, ordinary for
Mama, a drum roll.
Pampara. Drum roll.
Trumpet roll.
Pampara.
Say a drumming. We are about trumpet.
Trumpet.
We are also about trumpet.
Kessie.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. How many should I do? Just 1 or 2?
2.
2.
Yes.
Okay. So, Kessie, you remember your card?
I
I'm not
do
sure
remember
it's.
it.
Okay. I'm not sure it's this one. But anyways, I'm going to use the 2 jokers, right, to help trace your card. Do you think they can find your card?
Just do it.
Okay. So it's not about the jokers per se. It's about how they are able to locate cards. Open your hand, and place this and place the other hand on top of it this way. Then keep it that way. Now it's your turn, right? Say stop wherever you want.
Okay. I should look at it. Okay.
I'm coming. Let's start again. Say stop wherever you want.
Stop.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let me land here, and hopefully this was Kessie's card.
No.
It wasn't.
It wasn't
was
this.
Somehow closer to or this. No, it has to do with. You should try and get me the card so we do something with it.
Let me find his card.
Yeah, remove his card for me.
No, but it was something like that.
You remember his card?
Yeah, I remember.
Wow.
Sorry. See, you saw it.
No, you let him check.
Let me check.
No.
No, I saw.
What was it?
I remember.
I saw it. I know.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's not here.
No, it's not
okay,
here.
It's for a reason because I mentioned that the jokers will find the cards. And before we started, we were holding the jokers. I don't know how it happens. It should be trapped in between the 2 jokers.
Hi.
He doesn't want to say again. That's it, actually. Hey. Hey.
It happens that way.
But I'm confused. I don't get it.
All right. Thank you for your time, and we'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll talk with Kessie. It's eForum on GhanaWeb TV.
I want you so bad, alpha cracker. I want you. I wanna say yes, I can't resist. I want you. Ooh, I want you, alpha cracker. I want you so bad, alpha cracker.
Have a goodness rich in milk and butter in Alpha Cracker. Yummy and deliciously crunchy.
But I can't resist you.
Alpha Crackers, Simply irresistible.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. You're still watching E-Forum on GhanaWeb TV. The name is Abrantipa. And next is the man Kessie. Or what's signature and go and say PDB or
Kessie, baby.
And also free here.
It's a trademark.
Okay. Like I want to know how that came to mind. The PDB
during Azunto Fiesta.
Okay.
I remember sending me happy to boots in him. So I was just singing before the "Ow" came. I'm like, okay, let's do something before that came. So 1, 2, beep beep ow, and that is where I got it.
Okay. Well, so comedians in Ninya Ombeka so now we referee. Time I wish boot ho. They now deny Lexi the comic. How can you're correct. But anyway, thanks for coming. So the last time I heard of you. Now, what's she from secular to gospel?
Yes.
And for those who may not be aware, what accounted for that?
Well, I want to say Ubia on a destiny. And before you really find your destiny, you definitely have to, be roaming about. And when the right time comes, definitely, a appointed time. And when you can never, run away from it. So it's an encounter. It's a personal encounter. Aside that too, I was, when I was a kid, having prophecies and all that, like dream confirmations, and this is the real time. So I just have to, so I just have to, leave everything behind it and do what I was really called to do.
Okay. Would you say that your decision has actually been benefited you in any way? Has it been beneficial? Do you feel proud of the decision at this point?
I must say I'm more than proud, because there's this inner beauty, this inner joy chain the previous cases. You see, I mean the mic account also is Mike Kessie.
Okay.
And I feel I must start it's like 4 to 5 years. You can't compare it to the previous one. So I'm happy within it, and I'm doing my best.
Okay. I'm asking that because also Uja is secular to gospel no. Minim okote kakra. Minim diama okote.
Yeah, I have to, because there's this one great story about eagles. When they attain this higher age of like between 30 to 33, they feel weak, their beaks, fall down, their feathers, it by itself, and they have to go and hide in the wilderness, and grow their beaks back, grow their claws back. So when they come out, that is where the Bible says, those that wait upon the Lord
shall renew their strength
like a mount up high like an eagle. So I had to, go back, really learn, focus, train myself, and then bounce back again.
I see. Would you say you've given your all to God?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
So you've stopped all the...
Just thinking about the new me and moving on with it.
What would you say has been the contribution of your church to your craft? We've seen people who have, moved from secular to gospel. Nkofo measure omo performance na omo say ewo form. Ebi mo akọ and oma back. And there is this notion that the church or the Christendom and support it when you move from the secular to the gospel, fraternity. Has that been the case for you? What has been the contribution of your church and then the people around you?
I'll talk for myself.
Okay.
Because for my church, as an example, BH or Believers Home of Life, they've really supported me since I joined them. And I think the key point here is if you're doing something for God, church almost if you depend on them too much, they'll fail you. Know that the first ultimate goal is God, and after that, then you can think about them. And for a show, we say, oh, my church has to support me. They don't have to support me. You are there to serve. You are there to worship God. When they support you, fine. If they don't, find yourself out and do whatever you want to do. And me, for my sake, I will say my church has really been supportive.
Do you miss your past?
I don't miss my past. Anytime I remember my past, I just smile and laugh, and I'm like, hey, this guy. Especially, I knew maybe there's this song, Forgotten about it. There was this crazy lyrics that I wrote, and I'm like, anytime I hear it, I'm like, hey, Akoi, who's we stop home? I say, found no to always be. You know, sometimes when I remember, I just smile and I just laugh and I just.
That means lyrics ni be an outro back then. You were not proud of it.
Oh, some.
So, what motivated you to write those lyrics?
I think I was just enjoying. I was just going with the flow. Yeah.
I see.
I was just going with the flow.
So, would you perform any of the songs that you recorded those days? Because Lord Kenya, for instance, or can say Obenya and DJs